No medical information or payment information was accessed in this breach. This is believed to be the largest hack of health insurance data on record. Affected brands include Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Georgia, Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and Amerigroup. Tony Phelps is an Anthem spokesman.
We're very troubled by this incident. Anthem will individually notify all members whose information has been accessed.
The Indiana-based Anthem has set up a website and toll-free number for individuals who may have been affected. It's also offering free identity theft and credit monitoring for its customers. Elise Hugh, NPR News, Washington.
Secretary of State John Kerry says President Obama will decide soon whether to provide defensive weapons to Ukraine in its fight against Russian-backed rebels, but Kerry says the U.S. still prefers a diplomatic solution to the crisis there.
All we're asking is that Russia and the separatists support and honor the commitments that they make, that they implement a real ceasefire.
Kerry speaking in Kiev today. This is NPR News.
From KQED News, I'm Tara Seiler. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder is in the Bay Area today as part of an effort to improve relations between police and the communities they serve. KQED's Alex Emsley reports.
Before he spoke with law enforcement and community leaders in Oakland, Holder said there's hope that can come from the sustained outrage over police killings of unarmed black men last year.
Let's make sure that we make the most of a unique opportunity, a unique time, and make sure that we look back to this day as the beginning of the flourishing of a new and better relationship between law enforcement and this great community.
Youth Uprising CEO Alice Simmons was in the closed-door meeting with the Attorney General. She says it's up to Oakland to make the real changes.
The real question is, what are we prepared to do in our own city? Are we prepared to go beyond our comfort zone and build relationships with people that generally we have an adversarial approach to?
Simmons says that could start with greater transparency and accountability for police, as well as keeping officers safe. I'm Alex Emsley, KQED News.
Meanwhile, San Francisco's police department is changing the way it investigates officer-involved shootings. According to a recent SFPD internal affairs report, there are currently 21 open investigations. From now on, investigators will present cases to a review board before the district judge determines if criminal charges should be filed. Police Commission President Susan Loftus.
We should wait to learn the policy lessons from these cases and also show a way to make a preliminary policy determination.
The open cases date from mid-2012 to early this year and include 7 fatal shootings. Tara Seiler, KQED News.
Support for KQED News comes from Bayer, trusted financial expertise for this generation and next. BayerCalifornia.com. Right on WBAY. Support for KQED comes from Veritable LP, $13 million investment firm providing advice to over 200 wealthy families and guiding clients through turbulent markets since 1986. More information available at VeritableLP.com. And from YBCA, presenting new frequencies fast 3 days, 11 performances in 91 Hz, 600 Jazz's Future, featuring instrumentalists Satoru Fuji, Matana Robbins, and Jenny Scheinman. Tickets at YBCA.org. Support for NPR News from Oklahoma State University, with thousands of new scholarships available to students and more than $1 billion raised. Oklahoma State University, America's brightest school. Learn more at okstate.edu. Progressive Insurance, with its Apron Project, celebrating progress and the people who make it happen. And listeners of KQED, you're listening to KQED FM San Francisco, KQED FM in Sacramento.
From NPR News, and this is All Things Considered. I'm Lenny Correa.
NBC News anchor Brian Williams was not in a helicopter brought down by a rocket-propelled grenade. That much we know. Last night, Williams retracted and apologized for a story that he told last week about reporting in Iraq in 2003. But many journalists contend it did not clarify how he incorrectly recounted his own experiences, and some critics even say he lied. NPR media correspondent David Folkenflik reports Williams' shifting tales have led to a self-inflicted wound.
Here's what Sam Roberts has to say about Brian Williams, who's the most watched TV news anchor in America.
The only thing that a person like that has going for him is credibility and trust. and his credibility is now shot.
Sam Roberts is former national editor and foreign editor for CBS News, and he worked as a producer for Walter Cronkite's evening news show for 14 years. Back in March 2003, Brian Williams was a network star on the rise. His predecessor, Tom Brokaw, presented him to viewers of a Dateline NBC special in almost heroic terms.
For about 48 hours, we did not see NBC's Brian Williams, and that's because he and NBC News analyst General Wayne Downing were hunkered down in the Iraqi desert during a U.S. Army helicopter mission that suddenly turned dangerous.
Brokaw said that the NBC crew and the soldiers they tagged along with had survived a harrowing ordeal, and then Williams picked up the story.
Our lead chopper pilot remembers seeing a pickup truck driver stop and wave, while another man pulled back a tarp, stood up in the back of the truck, and fired an RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade.
Williams explicitly said the RPG had hit the Chinook ahead of him, not the one in which he was traveling.
We sat down hard and fast. We got out of the back ramp of that chopper, and General Downing said, "We're in about the most dangerous place in the world right now, gentlemen."
Williams reported the pilots from the plane hit by the RPG were too shaken to speak on camera. Again, that's all from 2003. In 2005, according to the Los Angeles Times, Williams said his helicopter was shot at. In 2008, Williams wrote in a post that a helicopter in front of his was knocked down by enemy fire. In March 2013, Williams publicly described twice what had happened a decade before.
And I've done some ridiculously stupid things under that banner, like being in a helicopter I had no business being in Iraq, with rounds coming into the airframe. But Did you think you would die? Briefly.
That was on WNYC Radio with Alec Baldwin. Williams also appeared on The Late Show with David Letterman, a favorite comedic venue. He spoke once again of the same episode.
We were the northernmost Americans in Iraq. We were going to drop some bridge portions across the Euphrates so the 3rd Infantry could cross on them. 2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in. No kidding. RPG and AK-47.
Note Williams' reliance on the word "we." It's ambiguous there about which aircraft took on which fire. Then, in a 2-minute-long story on NBC Nightly News last Friday, Williams celebrated the command sergeant major who kept his crew safe. But the anchor appeared prominently throughout the story. The 2 men cheered by fans at a professional hockey game. And in that report, Williams erased the last membrane separating what happened to the 2 helicopters.
The helicopter we were traveling in was forced down after being hit by an RPG.
Online outrage from soldiers led to Williams' contrite apology and retraction last night. But some questions remain. The pilot of the Chinook in which Williams was flying told CNN that Iraqis did fire on his helicopter with small arms, and that they closely followed the chopper forced down by the RPG. But the Stars and Stripes reporter who broke open the story tells NPR he has 5 soldiers from both helicopters who say there was no such fire, and the choppers were an hour apart.